Hi everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Fariba, and tonight we're going to watch episode 2 of House of Dragon season 3. And this time, actually watching it on time. We only had one World Cup game today, and thankfully it was in the afternoon, so I had plenty of time to get everything done and to catch up on this episode that we're about to have tonight. But that being the case, I do want to address a little bit because a lot has happened since last week's episode, and I know that took me a little bit of time to kind of get up last week. So now, if you guys recall my reaction from last week, I was actually kind of, phrasing a lot about the episode, kind of the twists and turns, as well as the whole dealio with Jace's death. Now, one of the things I did not realize was that the actual scenario and execution no pun intended, but the way it was handled was actually a little bit controversial in a way. It wasn't until I actually started reading some posts and getting a little bit more details of what the actual book content was that one thing I didn't realize was that Jace's original death in the books was actually a lot more heroic. I learned a little bit more of the fact that he was actually trying to save his brothers, at least if I have that information correct. And honestly, I can see why a lot of people are very outraged by the fact that there's just so much book content just being absolutely overturned, changed, altered, modified, however way you want to say it. So I can see why a lot of people are very upset with how last week's episode was handled, and I'm sure at some point we'll probably hear something from George R. R. Martin. And as I said, I'm gonna keep trying to, say this in the sense that I am aware of kind of the general ideas of what happens in the books, but I have not actually read the books. So for me, watching the show itself is all new content for me, but I actually don't know what ends up happening with a lot of the characters until I actually see it, and then I actually then read from people like what actually happened and if it's accurate to the book. So but yeah, I can understand a lot of outrage behind this. That being the case, we know that Jace has died. That's going to have a lot of consequences in terms of how Rhaenyra is going to react to the situation. In a sense, a lot of this was because of the fact that Alicent didn't warn them, of the fact that there was going to be some kind of ambush at Galette. And here we are, right? I mean, it looks as though that basically they're I think both sides of the aisle have lost a lot of their I lost a lot of their sea crew, their sea advantage. I think they both have been hit with a lot of mess and casualties, etc. And now it's just a matter of seeing how both sides are going to react. I think more so the fact that Rhaenyra is going to be very expressive about it, and we know for a fact that somebody has caught Aegon from Rhaenyra's side, so we'll see how that is handled. But yeah, a lot's about to happen. I'm sure, hopefully, the rest of the season is going to turn out well. I know the reviews were at least very positive for all of season 3, so maybe something will turn out right. But again, we still have some more episodes left, so yeah, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to lose any more time since this is like one of the rare times I actually caught up on the show at the right time. So without further ado, let's get right down into episode 2 of House of Dragon season 3. Streets. Oh, this is actually more dragons. Oh no. And he's fucked big time.
Tis one.
At a cost. Uh-oh.
What have you done?
Oh.
Jace. How could you? How could you do this? How dare you set your hands on me? How dare you?
She's right. She has every right to express that anger. Every right.
Will it wake my son? Will it change the truth of his folly and yours? And yours! All of
Thank
you
you.
who
Thank
knew
you.
what Jacaerys had done and
It's all their
stood by.
fault.
Are your
Clearly.
lives too not forfeit? Have you not betrayed? Please. Help me, my lady. I've done a terrible thing.
Why have you come? You need to go now.
Oh, there was ships and smoke. I wanted only to help, truly, but Sheepsealer was frightened.
I don't care. You were supposed to be on a ship to Pentos.
Oh, I need asylum, my lady. I had nowhere else to go.
How dare you? Asylum. You run from my charge and you bring disaster to my doorstep. The Queen will be hunting you.
None saw that it was me. You said yourself you were deceived in your dealings with the Queen. Taken for a fool. You wanted protection. I offer it now.
You don't even know how to handle the dragon.
Rhaegar is at large.
Came, but we had more!
Oh, the stars.
Now we can't see the water's through!
Oh, not the lion. Come on. I said it as a cat person.
Aemon comes, they...
Your Grace?
The Crown Prince is dead. I am summoned now to King's Landing to claim the Iron Throne for our Queen. I charge.
Tell her I want Harrenhal. I've lived there all my long life, and I've seen it given from hand to hand, and yet none seem to cherish it. Why should it not come to me?
You have
Why?
neither name nor title.
And yet, I count that of more worth than a mountain of gold.
I'm starting to really like Alan.
Telling you, we heard all kinds of sounds, like voices. I saw a...
You have erred. All three of you, and your error will cost us dearly.
Should we return now to Harrenhal, my
It's
prince?
too late now.
Not everything is about you, Damon. It has since transpired that there is some bond between them still.
Perhaps. Would that pain you?
My concern is for the Queen only. I'm no friend to the High Towers.
Well, there we are.
Leaving King's Landing, flying in the direction of the Riverlands. I would inform the Queen, but...
I will go.
Alice doesn't even know anything that's happened yet.
Cheers to his death.
How can the Greens have claimed another?
I want you to find them.
It will be done.
The boys who clung to me, who
hid their little faces in my skirts, dead, so that I may sit upon a throne of swords.
She's not wrong.
Will you let them die in vain? Near us. Harnai. Centrovi suvio perzovetri.
Song in Ice and Fire. Oh my god.
Away into the halls of power when you were just a girl. So young. So bold.
I don't like that.
I served Viserys faithfully. I served this realm faithfully.
You did. Life is short. The gods
I don't
are cruel.
like this.
We all find what enjoyment we can.
Lord Jasper.
Oh, you should, like, just slash his face
Oh,
right
wow.
now.
Good.
I know not where she may have been, but I know what I have seen here with my own eyes. Arrest him. He dares lay his hands on the mother of the king.
The queen does
something desperate.
Vengeful Rhaenyra. Look at those images.
Our deepest condolences, Your Grace.
Ah, shut it.
This.
I'm going to King's Landing now.
What? Your Grace, you cannot mean.
I heard no ambiguity in the Queen's statement, Lord Bartimos, did you?
I will fly.
But this reeks of a snap.
If it is, so be it. I'm done with talking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let
Fine.
Sir Laurent choose how he will die.
Watch, let none approach from the sky. Is that simple enough for you?
It is.
You do not want to
Stay
deal
on
with
guard
Daemon,
until I
guys.
send word. It will not at any point be necessary. Once the city is taken, we return our attention to Vhagar. From this moment, all must proceed according to plan.
You and Sir Kristen and my grandsire and the Septon.
I made a mistake.
Oh.
You heard him.
If I did or I didn't, I can no longer say. But Helena, you told me not many days ago that you were happy before you were queen. Words that pierced me like a spear. You, I may yet redeem.
She's not wrong.
I think.
Yes, Your Grace.
You are to stand down your station, Sir Frederick, at the command of the Queen Helena.
Standing orders, Your Grace.
Oh, I forgot Kristen exists. Oh my god, Aemon can fight. He's not there.
The army has decamped. There's nothing to stop you.
Darn it, I mean... Okay, well, okay. Oh, he actually struck him. Oh, well, he got him at... Okay, looks like he got some kind of nerve. Or vein, or whatever. I'm assuming she's gonna help her, isn't it? Is he dead? Or is he just... What? I'm so confused. I think he's alive. I'm gonna assume he's alive. But he's knocked out.
Alison did as she promised.
Mm-hmm.
The true test is within.
I guess that's Susan's army, huh?
Credit you this. Brazen or thick?
I suppose that depends whether I win or lose.
What the hell?
Stay close, Rhaenyra.
Commander Daemon Targaryen. And Queen Rhaenyra. The one true heir to the Iron Throne.
Oh!
The guards at the gates have thrown down their swords. Do the same?
Looks like you've lost this war.
It was Prince Daemon himself who gave me this gold cloak. 20 years ago.
I knew I'd see you again one day.
I wish I could say I was so sure about you.
Wow, I haven't seen you on that throne in a long time.
Aegon! The usurper! To me!
Well, he's not in the castle, I'm afraid.
A gift for you, if you ever returned, from Lord Larys Strong.
Lord.
Is it Otto? Ha! This little asshole. I was like, it took me a minute. I'm like, oh, it's Otto. Ah! Oh, I was wondering that where have you been?
I expected.
Asshole. Oh, this is even better than Aegon. Let's be honest. This is better than Aegon.
Aegon has fled, but our old friend can stand in his place.
Trust me, best replacement ever. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Just get it over with, will you?
This man ruined your family. Remember
If you
that.
wish to rule, show them you do not waver.
See what it's come to. You would never have imagined it.
Speak no more.
You ruined the family, asshole. Your greed ruined the
In this
family.
moment, you will become queen.
He's not wrong, unfortunately.
I did my best.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. 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 Wow, wow, wow. Oh my god. Uh, there's really a lot to digest. I mean, anytime I'm watching a House of the Dragon, just about any kind of Game of Thrones episode, there's a lot to digest. So, but I'm gonna try and be as thoughtful and insightful as much as I can, because I think there's a lot to kind of process with this episode, especially with everything that's happened in terms of the show. So let's get right down to kind of just the fact that this show starts right after the Battle of Gelet. And I think I'll admit to this. I think going into this episode, I was honestly getting a bit concerned that we were going a bit too quickly with the events of what's been going on with this whole civil war, right? And the more that I was watching this, the more I was like, why are we rushing so much of this war? And yet you can tell that they're really leading to the fact that Rhaenyra will eventually overtake King's Landing. So there was a little bit of me having a little bit of those concerns that we actually felt back in like Game of Thrones season 7 and then season 8, of course, and where it's like everything was starting to get a little bit rushed. It's like we're trying to now hit this deadline that we need to end this series off as quickly as possible. And as we all know, like this show is going to end with season 4, right? So this is going to be a 4-season series. This has been confirmed by Condell that the plan is that the show will end by season 4. Anything that is pertaining to the story of House of Dragon or Dancing with Wolves and all that sort of stuff will end by season 4. And we kind of already know, again, for those, like as I said, I already know bits and pieces of what ends up happening as a result of this war. I mean, she ends up becoming like Rhaenyra the Cruel, right? So at some point we see the consequences of everything that's happened with this war. We know that dragons will eventually become extinct right after these events, and we're already seeing how each and every dragon are dying like flies, right? And so, and I hate having to use that analogy, but it's kind of true. Like we know it because we already seen with Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, by then, there are no dragons by that point. We don't actually see dragons ever again, not until Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, where the 3 beasts eventually are rebirthed and, become owners of Rhaenyra Targaryen. So, I mean, not Rhaenyra, sorry, Daenerys Targaryen. So, we know that that's pretty given. That's already a huge part of the history of Game of Thrones. So, that's already been set in stone. So I will say I was getting honestly a bit concerned that we were really rushing a lot of the Civil War. Like I feel like even with the whole Jace death, like I felt a little underwhelmed. Like I didn't feel as strongly about it in the way that I would have liked. And a lot of that's simply for the fact that there hasn't been a whole lot of Jace in the first, I would say mostly season 2. And I think a lot of this pertains to some of the issues with trying to dedicate enough screen time for each of the key characters. And we've been seeing a lot of Daemon, we've been seeing a lot of Rhaenyra, we've seen Aemon, we've seen Aegon. Like even Aegon has his own plot right now. So we've been seeing a lot of these subplots, but we've seen so little of Jace that, by the time we got to his death last episode, like I was just kind of like, okay, but I wish we could have gotten more. And I would imagine a lot of that pertains to the fact that there was that key change with his story where rather than him being at the Battle of Gelet, it was supposed to be him saving his brothers and of course all that yada stuff. So we've established that. And so I think, unfortunately, because of the fact that there was just so little development with Jace's character, I wasn't as mournful about his death in a way that I would have liked, especially when we are looking at Game of Thrones and how Game of Thrones was able to handle so many different characters and do so, at least for the first 5 seasons, handle the whole story pretty well. Or 6 seasons. I'll give 6. Season 6 was at least good, okay? It was season 7 and 8 that's kind of a little mushy, but when we are looking at Game of Thrones, like they dedicate so much time in developing a lot of the characters, whether you like them or not, and allowing us to kind of feel our feelings about those characters, connect with these characters, or listen to these characters, that by the time we got to whether their final fate or just kind of the end of their storyline, that there is some kind of feeling as to what their story is concluding to. And I never really felt that with Jace. So, and given how fast this episode was going, I was just kind of a little concerned that we were going too fast. But I will say this, I think the second half of the episode really rectifies a lot of the issues I was having with the first half of the episode, which is the fact that we do start to kind of slowly dig into the fact that Rhaenyra is ready to take over King's Landing. And we see how once we finally get to the final moments, things are really brewing up. And I think once we got to the ending of this episode, I'm not gonna lie, I do actually feel a lot of satisfaction. I think one being the fact that, you know, Otto just had, because I'm not gonna lie, I was really about ready to just talk about at the end of this episode, like, okay, where's Otto Hightower? We saw him at the end of season 2. He was taken prisoner. We don't know who took him. We don't know what happened to him. What's going on with him? We see his sons, we see Allison, but we haven't seen him. And then, old and behold, Otto Hightower was the one guy that was in prison. I thought for a moment that we're just gonna stop with Damon just kind of walking through the hall of the prison's guard or whatever, but no, it was Otto Hightower. And I like that we were really seeping in slowly into those moments, that it allowed time to kind of allow all that to build up, to build that intensity. And I really liked that we had that with this episode. I'm not gonna lie, let me just say, the cinematography of that second half of the episode was absolutely mind-blowing. Just seeing the visuals of Rhaenyra just walking up to the steps, ready to go up. Then it's like, oh no, there's a little bit of obstacles here and there. Then boom, here comes Otto Hightower. And then just for her to, and then realizing the emotions that she's going through, like, does she have the strength to do so? Like, and I mean, Damon's right. Like, if you don't strike him, she's not officially a queen yet. And let's also kind of keep in mind that Otto is the reason why this house is broken. Like, had he not pushed his daughter to become the second wife of Viserys, had it not been for Otto to try and push his side of the family to take over the throne, and we know that guy was cunning as hell. Like, he wanted to take over King's Landing. He wanted his household to become the rulers of King's Landing, not with what Viserys had with his original family. And so, yeah, I think in a sense, like, as much as the fact that, you know, it is Otto Hightower, and, you know, I think it is probably the best replacement to Aegon. I don't think Aegon would have done a whole lot. I think Hightower was maybe the icing on the cake, no doubt. And I think that it took a lot of guts for Rhaenyra to do what she needed to do. And let me just say, just this visuals of the blood splattered on the floor and her walking up to the throne. Whoever thought of that, I think that was honestly just impeccable cinematography right there, because that's not easy to do. And just to kind of build off how bloody this whole war has been, and how, you know, the strength it took her to go up to that throne, knowing the fact that she just done something like that she did something that is very, in essence, very masculine of her to do, because we've been seeing so much of her being very feminine, someone who's trying to be very motherly, someone who's trying to be a voice of reason, rather than just being like a whole lot of men who all they think about is just, you know, swords and battles and bloodshed and all that sort of stuff. And now we see her kind of doing something that isn't necessarily very feminine of her, and yet she knows that that's kind of the only way for her to get any kind of respect. And that's something that I would say, I will say that, you know, looking into this episode, you know, we just saw her talk about how, you know, she is supposed to be the queen, and yet all she's ever been treated as if she's anything than a queen, and that, you know, she is somebody who, you know, is supposed to be ruling, yet she's not a man. And here she is, she does something that's really manly. And, you know, it takes a lot of guts. And I think that this was kind of a key step for her to what needed to be done for her to be, you know, to have her throne back. And remember, she was supposed to be the heir to the throne. Then a lot of shit happened. Viserys happened. Allison admitting to the fact that maybe she misheard what Viserys was saying. That's a whole other thing. Just to hear that, I'm like, oh, now she's admitting that she could actually be wrong, because we know that, I think we can all, you know, acknowledge that we probably think that Aegon that he was talking was probably like, you know, was probably Rhaenyra's Aegon, the one who she just had a child of with Daemon, and she's probably thinking, and he's probably thinking about Aegon that person and not Aegon like his son. So yeah, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I think the way that the you know, everything built up to that final moment, I have to say, I have to give props to whoever really kind of had the eyes for all the cinematography, all the visuals, just the build up to her finally up to the throne, up until the fact that we do see Alicent seeing her father's beheaded head and body. Just, I mean, I think that was a really great way of setting things up. I think this is maybe, I don't know if this will rectify everything that we've had, you know, issues with back with season 2 and of course with last episode, but I think that this might be a very good direction of how things are, maybe a way to kind of rebuild a lot of the issues that may have happened before, and maybe kind of be a little bit of a restart. I think this is what it's kind of feeling like, a bit of a restart. Maybe, I don't know, I could be totally wrong about that, but from the sounds of it, it seems as though that the Civil War may officially end by this point. And we'll talk about Aemon in a second, but I think this seems to be the end of at least one half of the Civil War, but of course this is not the end of the situation with Rhaenyra. Now, let me just say, Emma Darcy, their performance was absolutely exceptional. I don't even know how else to say it, but their performance was just really the highlight of this whole episode. I mean, just the way that they were able to really react to Rhaenyra's emotions as a mother who just lost not another child, but literally her first son, right? And I say this as somebody who is, of course, a first child. I'm a firstborn daughter. And then, you know, I think I've always heard that, you know, when it comes to the first child, there's like even more emotional, you know, stake when it comes to that, because like that's your first child that you ever birthed to this world. And imagine just having to be like Rhaenyra. I mean, it's one thing to lose, you know, Lucerys, but then to lose her first child, I think the way that she reacted is absolutely like what you would imagine it to be. Like, that's her first child. That's the heir to the crown. And the way that, I mean, I have to say, Emma, the way that they were able to really just play all that, I mean, I was just like, oh my God, they are nailing it. I would not be surprised. I think this is kind of just a highlight of what this season is going to be like. I mean, we've been seeing Emma Darcy and how they've been trying to play off Rhaenyra since, of course, the end of season 1, and we've been seeing them build up to just that performance, that rawness of playing Rhaenyra throughout these seasons. But I think it's very clear what we've seen so far that Emma Darcy is really going to be like, is going to be the highlight of the season. I think that's the clear thing that we'll gain a sense of with season 3. The fact that we've been seeing a lot of the posters, how Rhaenyra is literally the focal point of season 3. I think there's even like a whole like wallpaper or background image or something like that where you literally see Rhaenyra on the throne. I think this is kind of a clear point that she is literally going to be the star of the show, that she's going to be who everyone's going to be looking at. And I think so far with this episode and how we've gone to the point of her getting to the throne, I think it makes a lot of clear sense that, you know, Emma Darcy is going to be ruling the show. And I would not be even, and I'm going to say, I think having seen what we've seen in the first 2 episodes, no doubt they have literally the stand-up performance so far. And I would not be surprised if this is kind of leading into a possibility of like maybe a possible Emmy. Look out for next year. We'll see. We're still only on season 2. Sorry, episode 2. So that might be too early to call. But so far, what I've been saying, just the way that they have handled the rawness, the emotions, just really kind of getting the essence of Rhaenyra in the moment as a mother, as, you know, a woman, as somebody who, you know, yearns to kind of prove people wrong, and that the fact that she's now trying to prove people that she does deserve this throne, and seeing the moments leading up to that, and then just again, of course, how she eventually takes over, tries to be a little bit more masculine just to prove the fact that she's not just any kind of woman who has no kind of power. It's like she's trying to prove it, and I think that we saw bits and pieces of that, without, of course, you know, the fact that, you know, it's really hard for her. It's taking moments for her to really kind of reach those moments, trying to get those guts. And then the way that you can see Rhaenyra's face change the moment that she does behead Otto, and how she's like finally gotten that confidence now. It's like, whoa, okay. Like, I mean, as I said, the transition in the performance has been exceptional. And like, I say, I think Emma Darcy, well, I mean, they are very killing this role as Rhaenyra. I can't even imagine what's going to happen afterwards now. Of course, I'm very curious what's going to happen now. The fact that Alicent was caught, Helena was caught, they see Otto's body lifeless, and just the way that they're both looking at each other, because you can tell that the original deal was that she was going to get Aegon. Aegon, of course, is not there, you know. So what else is best? Otto. And I think we can all agree that Otto is maybe the most satisfying thing to get rid of. So, which sucks. I mean, I think his name is Rhys Ifan. Ifan. Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor, right? I've seen him before, but I mean, and I wish we could have seen a little bit more of him to kind of build up to that. But even that being the case, we can all agree that maybe he was the most satisfying way to kind of build up to that moment. But I can't even imagine how the reaction is going to be, knowing the fact that, you know, this wasn't exactly part of the deal, and just seeing how Rhaenyra's kind of panicking, just seeing Alicent's face, and knowing the fact that she didn't just kill anybody, but she killed her own father. Like, whew. And of course, like, I'm sure this is going to only cause more conflict, because we've seen the 2 Hightower brothers, so they're around. We see Daron, I think, That was, I believe, Allison's youngest son that we saw. So there's that. So I'm assuming that there's probably still like, you know, I guess you can say bits and pieces of the war left that maybe Allison might change her mind about everything that's happened. Maybe she will conspire against her once again. Who knows at that point? Like, I mean, as I said, I've not read the book, so I don't know what ends up becoming the next move in that case. But yeah, there's a whole lot that still needs to happen. And even then, if we remember the trailers, like, it doesn't seem as though everybody was accepting of Rhaenyra's ruling, of Rhaenyra's claim to the throne, and now we're just gonna see the consequences of that. I mean, I believe this is gonna be 8-episode season. I believe that's what it is, 8-episode season. So we still have 6 more episodes left for us to see kind of how this all runs out. Of course, there's gonna be the big question of Aemond. Like, we just saw him at Harrenhal. He gets struck with the blade. I'm assuming he's been knocked out because, like, he was kind of bleeding profusely. I'm gonna assume that the witch is probably gonna cure him, and maybe that's going to kind of leave doors open to some of the more lingering stuff. Like, I'm sure there's still a whole conflict with Daemon and him that needs to be sorted out first, because I think that's kind of the big thing that we want to see. I'm assuming there was something with this. I can't remember, but I'm sure there was something about this that builds up to kind of like the, just like the last bits of the fact that, dragons do eventually start going extinct. And of course, we have like the Pole Targaryen bastards who have dragons. Then, we have the whole situation with the sea snakes and all that sort of stuff. And of course, we still have the whole Rhaena situation with, what was it, sheep stealer, right? So that's a whole nother situation that we still have to handle. So even though it seems that the war has ended, there's still a lot of internal conflict that needs to be handled, in terms of just like, more of like the personal matter. And I think that alone is probably going to carry off for the rest of the season, even probably into season 4. Because as I said, like, the show is supposed to end with season 4. So technically speaking, not only do we have the 6 episodes that we have left for season 3, but then we also would probably have 8 more episodes left from season 4. So we still have like 14 episodes at this point that would eventually hopefully conclude everything in a satisfying note. I know, again, the show hasn't had the greatest reputation since season 2, and Ryan Condal has been getting a lot of backlash for that, so I'm quite aware of that. And I mean, I'm just hoping that maybe, just maybe, there's some kind of redemption to kind of what has been changed, what has been altered, and at least still kind of ending in a way that it still sticks to the books, and hopefully that book readers would be happy with. But as I said, like, I think there's still a whole lot ways to go. Yeah, we're in the penultimate season, but we still are kind of getting to the beginnings. And I hope that maybe moving forward, we won't feel as rushed with everything that's been moving forward at this point. Or maybe a lot of people might still be upset with the fact that the whole like war aspect has been handled so poorly and it's been rushed, that there wasn't enough development for that, which I actually can agree to. Like, I will say that I think the whole war aspect kind of has been a little bit underwhelming. And I'm going to assume that this is basically the end of that war half. But as I said, we still have 6 more episodes left. I think there's more to handle and go through. But there's a lot of new developments at this point. As I said, I think this episode does what it needed to do. And I think it was executed very, very well. No pun intended. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this show is going to conclude season 3 and how it's going to build up to season 4 as well. But yeah, I think that's all I have to really say about episode 2. I think I've kind of went through a whole lot about it, but I think, as I said, I think the second half really kind of overcomes the issues of the first half, and I think that alone is what really made this episode pretty enjoyable. So, but yeah, I want to your thoughts now that we've gotten episode 2. It looks as though that the actual like civil war has now concluded, although there could still be some lingering aspects to it that needs to be resolved, and maybe that will build up into the final episodes, because as I said, we're already kind of getting into the halfway point of the series. We're already halfway through to the halfway point of the series. So, but yeah, I want to know your thoughts having now seen this. For those who have read the books, what do you feel about this episode so far? Did it meet your expectations? Does it follow the actual books itself? Or were there any changes that maybe you were actually satisfied with, or were you just absolutely just annoyed by that were that was changed once again by Ryan Condal? And then of course we have the whole situation with Aemon. I'm assuming he is just knocked out, but maybe you have better insight to that, or maybe that's another change. I don't know. That being the case, we saw the ending of what transpired. What's gonna be like for Rhaenyra at this point? What's gonna happen to her Are people gonna accept her? What do you think about the performance so far? I think I already said my whole dues about Emma Darcy, but I want to hear your thoughts. I think just how things had developed from the Battle of Gellert and just seeing the aftermath of that up until, of course, now with the whole taking of King's Landing. What do you think about those? And I want to know your thoughts, concerns. What are your expectations for the rest of the season if you're planning on finishing off? And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts below, and make sure to like and subscribe.